Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It is April 4th, 2025, which means that this is the 2025 4/4 portal reading. I do these readings at all the double days, preferably on the double day. Sometimes the double day whizzes by and I have to do it and the next day. And sometimes because of scheduling, I do it on the day before. But today we're going to do it on 4/4. I would have liked to done it at 4 a.m. this morning, like I suggested folks get up and meditate uh, in another video. I, however, was meditating, I guess in Sleepy Land, or whatever. So I was sound asleep. But it doesn't matter. It's 4:44, 4:44 somewhere, right? At some point. All right. So, I want to look at this from an astrological perspective and also a um, Kabbalistic perspective, and then I'm going to do a card reading. So, I'll do a timestamp for those of you who are not necessarily so much into the astrology and Kabbalah, and if you want to just go to right to the reading. We can do that. That's not a problem. Okay, so let me share some stuff with you guys. Um, and okay, so we're on the 4/4 portal, and sometimes we have significant astrological things happen on portals. They're not really connected to them in that because it's sort of a separate cycle. Um, but there's a very significant thing happening today on the 4/4 portal. First of all, the 4/4 vibration is an 8, and we add that to the universal year of 9. And so that means April 4th, 2025 is a 17/8 vibration day. This is the star card in the tarot. The star card here is associated with the sign of Aquarius. We have Pluto in Aquarius right now. We're in the Aquarian age, right? And so there is this sense of change. And the thing about Aquarius is it's a planet ruled by Uranus, and actually Uranus and Saturn. Before Uranus was discovered, the ruler of Aquarius was Saturn. And so this Aquarius energy, which vibrates to the day 4/4/28, is connected to the sign of Aquarius through its numerological correspondences. And then we have these two rulers or co-rulers or classical and modern rulers of the sign of Aquarius in a sextile to each other. Now, this sextile is part of a synodic cycle that began back in 1988 when these two planets came together at the last 3 degrees of Sagittarius, what we believe to be true. This cycle, I believe, is a 45-year cycle, the synodic cycle. And so we've gotten to the point where we're up to the waning sextile. The nature of a waning sextile is to move the thinking of society in a more progressive direction. It's naturally a progressive direction. It's actually in the cycle or in the circle, the 360-degree circle that planets, uh, excuse me, traverse during their synodic cycles from conjunction to conjunction. Excuse me. The 300-degree place is the cusp of Aquarius. So we're on the cusp of the Aquarian age. And this sextile is going to be a very powerful tool as we move forward. Now, that being said, as with all tools, they can be abused and misused. So we're not the only one who have these tools. And so I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of things we would rather never see happening. At the same time, really, really good things are going to be happening. And the sextile is an opportunistic energy. And so we have the opportunity to make some real significant change, but we don't have the guarantee. Part of the energy of the sextile is mentally stimulating. And how do we learn from each other? We learn from each other by talking to each other, by listening to each other, by cooperating with each other, by taking your piece of information and my piece of information and looking at it in an analytical way as well to see what we have to overcome, but what tools do we have to work with? So Saturn makes a waning sextile to Uranus at 25 degrees of Pisces, Taurus. This is the first of 3 exact waning sextiles. The first one happens on 4/4, the second one on August 11th, 2025, and the last one on January 20th, 2026. So over the next 9 months or so, this sextile is going to be very exact. I mean, we're already feeling the energy of this with uh, AOC and Bernie and just the rise in the people coming up, even when um, we hadn't lost the election, right? When Kamala was there, the enthusiasm to feel good about something, to work in the direction of creativity and community was just so overpowering, and it felt so good. So we were feeling this energy back then as well. You know, today when I was preparing for this, on these days, I often sort of open my sense to what's the message for the day for this time. And what I got was teamwork makes the dream work. Now, I realize it's a bit of a cliche, but however, that was the message I got. And this Aquarian energy of this sextile is so very uh, teamwork makes the dream work. Working together in cooperation instead of competitiveness, and we all raise the vibration. You can see it happening in places like YouTube, where independent media, whether you're watching David Pakman or you're watching Midas Touch or you're watching Keith Edwards or you're watching Jebediah, whatever you're watching, you're seeing these people, these vibrational um, perspectives on life come together and coalesce. And so that energy of us coalescing into a organism, a functioning organism, is the thing that's going to knock out the cancer that is this uh, rogue pirating capitalism. I guess this is what happens at the end of empires, where everybody's just trying to get what they can get and leave the rest. But we don't have to agree to that. Yeah, maybe it's the end of the American empire, but it's not necessarily the end of America or the ideals, because it's not even America. It's the ideals that we can live in a country under a rule of law that says that, uh, first do no harm. So this is part of a synodic cycle that began back in 1988, when Saturn and Uranus conjoined 3 times. And this was how they did 30 degrees first, 29 degrees, and then 28 degrees of Sag. Saturn is the planet of reality, making a waning sextile to Uranus, the planet of awakening, also the planet of chaos. The waning sextile moves us into a more humanitarian and progressive future. Experiences since 1988 informs us of what was attempted in the awakening of society, what has worked, and what hasn't. What have we learned, and how do you envision the future? That's what this is looking to answer for us. At this time, the sextile is part of a configuration with Mars in Cancer, which incidentally is conjunct the United States Sibley Mercury at this time that brings energy and the voice of the people to create change we need to institute action for a better future. Here is the sextile. Now, this chart is for Washington, D.C. So this is Washington, D.C.'s chart with Mars on the ascendant in the first house in Cancer, really pissed off. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is the people. Today, the moon is in Cancer, even more so. When this hits this, yeah, when the moon hits Mars, we can expect. Now, Mars in Cancer isn't the greatest of energies to expose yourself to, especially when it's angry. It can do things because you're coming from an emotional place. It's like, you know, somebody who does like a crime of passion and you know completely like annihilates the person's like face or something, right? Because they hate them that much. It's a crime of passion. It's insane. So it's an insane act, right? You're just like complete and utter like feral energy, we could say. And that is powerful now. So you do have to be extra careful. So even though I'm saying together the DreamWorks makes the teamwork and all that stuff, that is true. I think there needs to be really intelligent and planned out ways for us to assert ourselves. Now, I want to just state that I realize that tomorrow, the 5th, on Saturday, they are expecting a large protest. Um, so we will see how big that is. Now, of course, we'll have to probably go to, you know, places like David Beckman to find out what really happened. Because I don't know if the other news organizations are going to be showing it, but we will see. We will see. Um, All right, let me continue. This is going to, I can already tell this is going to go long. Now, I just want to point out, I did say that, sorry, this is the wrong direction. I did say that this synodic cycle where we have this sextile that's exact today on 4/4 and will be in influence until into January, and then it'll start to wane away, but we have this ability to utilize this energy. Now, the actual sextile sits here. Let's see, I can't find my little cursor. I do this all the time, I lose it. Uh, the sextile that we're experiencing actually sits in this part of the cycle. This is um, a demarcation of a synodic cycle, the precise, like most stressful points, right? So we had the first quarter square. We had the conjunction of these two planets. That was 1988. These were the degrees back in 1999 and 2000. Remember what 2K, Y2K, Y2K, 1999. We had a huge eclipse in the sign of Leo. It was a grand fixed square. The grand square is considered the opening of the Tetragrammaton, or the sacred man, as it were. It was very, very powerful time. And then in 2008 to 2010, we had the opposition of the seeds planted back in 1988. And that was the year Obama won the presidency. It was the year, within the years, I believe, that we were able to pass the Obamacare, the ACA, right? Which is interesting because the planets were in Pisces and Virgo, which deal with healthcare, really. And in 2021, we had three last quarter squares. That was the crisis in consciousness. This is where we started questioning authority. This happened right as we were getting the COVID vaccine and all of that, and we were starting to, I guess, reopen from what, but it did really create a lot of that whole period of time created a lot of rebelliousness. And that rebelliousness is being experienced now, but that's the nature of that particular part of the synodic cycle anyway, to reevaluate, turn away, revise, and the realization of meaning. Where we're at now is the realization of meaning. We're at the realization of meaning. And so we still have a ways to go for the cycle to be over, but this is, in a way, one of the most powerful times of the cycle for progressive change. So I don't want anyone out there to think that everything is terrible. Everything is wonderful, because what's happening is there's so much disruption that we have to focus our attention on that which we want to bring into the world. And if you want to bring world into the world peace and harmony, then that's what you need to focus on. And so you need to take the steps to get that within your own life, and it will spread out to others. But we have to come, and it all starts at home. Our most important person to get in alignment with is our own self, our own higher self. And once we do that, we become superhuman. We become Adam Kadam. We become the tetragrammaton, in a way, co-creative with spirit. And, you know, stop fighting ourselves. I mean, he's an idiot, but he is true about the enemy within. It's the enemy within of us that don't love enough, that don't trust enough, that can't take that leap of faith into love. So the interesting thing about this particular sextile, I have this up. This is part of the tree of life. In the tree of life, the top three sephiroth, called the supernal triangle. This is Hether, which is crown. It's connected to Neptune and Pluto. The silver one is Hokmah, which means wisdom, and is connected with the planet Uranus. And the black one is Baina or Bana, which is connected to Saturn. And we have Saturn and Uranus in this sextile, a very powerful sextile. And so what it's activating on the tree of life is this whole configuration, this whole path. This path that connects these two Sephiroth is the path of the Empress, which is Venus. And so what I've done is I've looked to see where Venus is. I've looked to see where where the sextiles are happening. Venus says, and in a way, Venus is the vision of this. Venus is now retrograde at 27 of Pisces, a full harvest moon. We reap what we sow. That's what Venus is letting us know. We reap what we sow, as Saturn and Uranus are making this very supportive, progressive sextile. Saturn is at 25 degrees of Pisces, rooting out corruption, the purging of the priesthood, the purging of those who feel like they have ultimate power over another person because of what they believe or who they believe in. And Uranus at 25 of Taurus, working collectively, a vast public park. So we have an amazing amount of access today, and you know, well into 2026. It's a special time. We also today have Mars making a waxing sextile to Uranus. This is actually the last of 3 waxing sextiles. Waxing sextiles open the lines of communication. This is the Gemini energy. Just want to make sure it's a waxing and not a waning. I think I'm going to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Mars, Uranus. Yes, okay. It's a waxing. It's a waxing. So we had one on October 24th, 2024. We had one on January 23rd of 2025. And this is the last one. It says, with Mars and Uranus in a sextile aspect, the energy is channeled into activities aimed at social benefit. You intellectually challenge established social patterns, which impede your individual future. Your intention is to provoke new thinking, offer the potential for unexplored horizons. This drive is not just a personal quest, but a shared journey towards collective progress. Doesn't that sound fantastic? That's the aspect today, which is part of this configuration, which acts really like a giant sickle or something, a sword, or something that can cut through with focused energy, right? Okay. And then lastly, because it's not done, we have Mars making a waxing trine. So this configuration here that looks like a little mini um, trine, grand trine. It's actually a trine and two sextiles. Um, is completely exact today. You know, bing, 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 bing. Powerful. Three's a charm. This is the last of three exact waning trines between Mars and Saturn. So the Mars-Uranus energy is an opening of information. The Uranus-Saturn information is a flow of energy, but more structured because it's Saturn. Um, and so this is the last of three waxing trines. Mars at 25 degrees of Cancer, the Sabian symbol for this, enacting the soul's purpose. True success is an endowment. It may feel as though one is blessed by higher forces to carry out special cosmic purposes, but in truth, the benefactor of this endowment is our higher self, which is accessed whenever all sides of personality are mastered and brought into harmony. Creative self-expression trine with Saturn, rooting out corruption, the purging of the priesthood. So that's the astrological and numerological and Kabbalistic energy of this 4-4 portal. So now I'm going to do a card reading for the 4-4 portal. I'm going to use my AstroMatrix deck. And let's see what we need to be aware of as we move through this portal. What does Spirit want to tell us about this portal? What information for our highest good to come through this reading? We are open. We are protected. We are full of the light and allowing the light to express, to illuminate, to see, to know, and then to act on what we see and know to be true. All right, let's see what we have. We start with the Two of Cups. This is about partnerships coming together over a common cause. This is a very spiritual card. This is actually a Uranus card in the system that I use. It's associated with Hokmah on the Tree of Life, wisdom, the Divine Father. This is a caduceus. This is, the winged serpent staff of Hermes. It's a symbol of healthcare and medicine, but it's symbolizing the rising of the Kundalini up the spine and then the awakening of the third eye. This is actually located on the Tree of Life in the third eye chakra. And so this is an awareness of the need to work with people uh, over issues that affect the healing and the welfare and the emotional welfare. We have two women here. This also indicates maybe it's time for women to get together. We have a Black woman and I think an Asian woman here. And so this is about all the women coming together instead of hurting each other because of, some weird thing that the man in our life or the man in your life thinks, or the culture says, perhaps. What's crossing that is the choice. This is saying that we have a choice. It's interesting because Gemini is the sign of duality. And in a way, what Gemini does is it shows us things in black and white. And it's the space between the black and white, which is the pathway forward. It's not about staying on the extremes. It's about seeing what those extremes open up for us to walk through. That's why, in a lot of ways, Trump is lighting the path for us, even though it feels like he's trying to destroy us. In a way, he's trying to destroy the paradigm. Or, I mean, I don't think he knows he's doing that. It's just happening. That's the energy. It's not like it's necessarily conscious. He's embodying that energy, the energy of his chart. And we all can embody the energy of our charts. Underneath it all is a balancing of the budget. This is balancing health concerns. This is balancing money. This is a real look at what we have to work with, what we value, what is extraneous to that. We have to concentrate on just two things. The balance. It's all about the balance. We have two and two. And the Lover's card, the symbol for a Gemini, which is connected to the Lover's card, is the Roman numeral 2. And of course, Trump is a Gemini, and Musk is a Gemini rising with his Venus in Gemini, which is his money, but it's connected to Trump's Sun, North Node, and Uranus. So they're, other connections too. They're definitely playing this game together. In the past, we have the Queen of Cups. This is the psychic queen looking within, looking at the feelings and the emotions. This is perhaps a time for us to, in the past, to come to terms with our feelings. We've had a lot of things to feel about, just COVID alone, what it did to families and communities, how it tore at the very fabric a number of reasons, but the fact that so many people had to die alone, away from the people they love. And for some people, their loved ones went into the hospital and they never saw them again. That's a lot of loss. And then to watch what was going on in Ukraine, and then what was going on in Gaza, that we have to bear witness to this unbelievable pain. And whose side are you on? And is there even a difference between the sides when people are hurting people because they feel like they have the right? It doesn't matter what country you're from. That's not right. Cory Booker says it's not what's right or left, it's what's right or wrong. What is right and what is wrong? Let's see what's in the sky. Greed, wanting to hold on to all of it. You know who this guy is, right? I mean, it even looks like him. It's mine, 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 mine. I hate to tell you, Donnie, you can't take it with you. There's information coming out this month. In fact, this is the card, the immediate future, that I would even indicate as the card for the whole month. And what it says is that secrets are going to be revealed. On the tree of life, this path of the high priestess, with right here, right down the center of the tree. This is direct connection between your crown, which is where you take in, where you're connected to source, where you're connected to spirit, where you're connected, and your heart. In a way, it circumvents your mind, right? It goes woof, woof. So your heart is going to be the thing. You have to listen to your heart this period, this month, right now. Listen to your heart. Things are being revealed. Secrets are being revealed. How it's seen from the outside. We have the power. We're being reminded by those outside of this realm that we have the power if we focus our intention. This is power to the people. This is power to each individual. And we all become empowered. We stop giving it away. Stop handing it over to the bully. It's time for us to stop handing our lunch money over to the bully. In the domestic situation, we have the Knight of Swords. Now the King of Swords, I'm sorry. This is people, men, people in power who are going to stand up for the right, for what is right, for what is right. This, I think, is the courts. They're going to play a very important role this month. Or if it's your home, what is fair, what is right, what is balance. Lots of good judgment energy at home. Hopes and fears that we can work together to solve problems. We certainly can. So many bright minds, so many good ideas. You know, the bully will beat up the nerd because they're smarter, or he'll say, you got to do my homework for me, and I want an A. Outcome, the Knight of Pentacles. There is, it's interesting because of all the decks, this Knight of Pentacles isn't like the rest of them. This Knight of Pentacles we see is the horse is taking a step. Now it could just be, you know how the horses do the ground. But this guy looks like he's on a journey. He looks like he's moving towards something. And this is a resource coming. There's a resource coming from outside that we are not, it's on its way. Help is on its way. Help is on its way. Uh, the King of Pentacles, which is an energy of somebody who knows how to manifest, understands the formula to manifest. We have victory, a victory coming. This is the path and shadow of the United States. And I'll pick one more. The King of Wands. So we have, in this reading, we have three kings. Now, kings in the tarot, we had the king of we had the King of Pentacles, the King of Swords, and the King of Wands. The only king that's not here is the King of Cups. But kings are about dominion. It's also about Uranus. So having dominion over your finances, over your mind, and over your heart and spirit. Have dominion over. Don't let people drag you into fights. That's what I want to say. underneath it all, having the higher ground, having to protect yourself, but having the higher ground through that. Strength, and the Two of Wands, looking out at new opportunities in the world. So these cards give me a sense that we're going to be okay. We're going to have to relearn how to relate to others. People aren't going to trust us the way they trust us now. But I think that well, I mean, that's a political thing, but I think just for us is stand your ground. You have the strength, and there are other people waiting to hear from you. There are people want a better world. Nobody wants this. Nobody in any country wants this. I don't care what you say. Only a few maniacs. And you know what? They don't run the game anymore. It may seem like they do because they have all the guns and bombs and nuclears and threats and all of that, but you know what? No more. No more. It's time for us to say no more. I guess maybe that was channeled, but that could have been my own higher self. So take that with knowing that, some of that stuff was my own stuff. But if you're watching me, there's a part of you that agrees. There's a vibrational frequency. We're vibrating together, guys. We're vibrating together. So pay attention who's coming into your consciousness, who's coming into your life. How do they align with you? And discern whether it's going to be an alignment that helps you to live a better life, live a more peaceful existence, feel safer, feel more abundant. It's always kind of worked for me. And so I guess I just want to say that to you guys. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's the mantra. That's the message. We can do this. We before I remember at a certain point last year where I was doing a reading and a number of readings, and I don't remember what type they were, but I said, it's okay, guys, we're already there. We're already on the other side of this. We're already doing the thing and we're already there. And I remember thinking that, well, we're already there. I mean, how bad could it get? Like, I'm pretty like awake. And wow, like wow, 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 beyond my ability to comprehend. But now as I'm on the other side of it and going through the the portal we're being propelled through, you know, um, I still see it. It feels even more real to me. It feels now where it felt like a certainty before, which kind of sounds kind of strange. It feels like a potential now. But to be certain of your point of view is one thing, but to actually see the potential growing and things moving in the direction of the vision is another. It's humbling, really. Hopefully, I'm making sense to you guys. I'm not sure. Sometimes things come out of my mouth that just come out, and I guess it's a channel. I don't know, of my higher self, maybe, or maybe it's Metatron, or maybe it's a guide. Whatever it is, I'm on your team, and I know you're on my team. Let's get together and change the world. We are the people we've been waiting for. We always have been. And I think we always will be. We have the power of co-creation. We are here as humans to balance the heavenly and the earthly realms, and that can only be done through love. access the love within you for yourself, for those you love. And then, as Jesus said, love thy enemies, because we are all one. Have a great month, guys. I'll see you at the 5-5 portal, and it's going to be warmer and greener, and I'm going to be so excited then as well. I love you guys. Take care. Namaste.